Dieter Thoma. 126 meters. Dieter Thoma denies 4 men the hill record. And the 25-year-old from Hinterzarten, who's had 2 podium finishes in 3rd place, now leads the competition with a new hill record of 126.5 meters. So look at the form here as Thoma comes into land. 2-footed, loses on style, but he makes on meters. So Germany lead the competition, and remember, we've still got the best 10 to come. This is the man who was in 11th place after the first jump, Mika Leitinen. And it's not a hill record, but it's a long jump by this Finn, who finished 13th yesterday. A little inconsistent his form this season. He's been 2nd and 3rd, but much better form than he had last season. 2 years ago, he was one of the best when he won a gold medal with the Finnish team in the Albertville Olympics. 114 meters for 5th place. Andrew Jakle, well, Germany are in the lead, and this tall man from Schönau denies his own teammate. No, he can't. Jakle, who was 6th yesterday and is currently 16th in the overall rankings for the season. Still looking to better that position. Never been better than 6th in World Cup, but he's 5th at the moment. But surely not destined to hold on to that. Frankie Petek, the man who won here in 1990, joint winner with Ari-Pekka Nicola. Now, can this former world champion also find his form? So many have done it this afternoon. Good jump, he's going to be pleased with that. Petek still only 23. And 113 meters. The best he's finished this season was 5th. And remember, he didn't qualify for a 2nd jump last season, I should say yesterday. And he goes 5th at the moment. 9th place after the first round. 8th place, I should say, Toni Nieminen, double Olympic champion back in 1992, very much on the comeback trail, although yesterday didn't qualify for a 2nd jump, finished 37th. Oh, that's much better, and a nice, really deep telemark landing, looking really solid there. And Nieminen, 8 career wins in World Cup, the championship in 1992, and he's got good style this season as well. So well over 220 points in total for Nieminen, 120.5 meters, and goes into 4th place. A little bit back on course for him. Now the first of the 2 Frenchmen, this is Nicolas Jean-Pro, in very good form, 8th 24 hours ago here. And it's a good jump by Jean-Pro. No Frenchman, as I've mentioned before, has yet to win a World Cup. It surely can't be that far away with him and his teammate Nicolas Desum jumping consistently now and in good form. Jean-Pro, the cancelled retirement at the end of last season, really paying off. 7th and 8th in the last 2 jumps. He leads at the moment. He's taken over from Thoma. 123 meters over the calculation point by 3 meters. But can Desum go better? It's France from Germany, Bredesen for Norway in 3rd, then Moser in 4th place. But remember, it's Thoma who's got the hill record from Courchevel, just 17. Desum looking for a huge jump, and that's a big jump. Well over the calculation point, so bonus points in terms of distance. Desum, 5th here yesterday. He's never been better than 4th in the World Cup. So that's a characteristic of his, the arms out from the side, and he does get the telemark, and the two Frenchmen, 121.5 puts Desum into 2nd place. So now Jani Soininen. Soininen in excellent form. 2 third-place finishes, the second of those coming just 24 hours ago on this hill. The other one in Garmisch-Partenkirchen on New Year's Day when he was 3rd there. 117.5 meters. He's more than capable of going over 120. Flowed nicely, and that's a terrific effort. Soininen right up there. Now, is he going to lead the competition? Nice form in the air. Doesn't always get the telemark on landing, and it was a little suspect there whether it was two-footed. 124 meters, but given the telemark, look at that, nothing less than 19s, 19.5 for style. So now Nicola, well, he can depend on the style, or we can depend on that he'll produce it. This man who, as I said earlier, shared the victory here in 1990 with Frankie Petek. Nicola, good jump, but for once no telemark. Really stepping out for the meters. This most consistent of ski jumpers this season, the World Cup champion back in the year that he won this competition. And about 124 meters, I think, looks to be of that order. Now, what view, I wonder, the style judge is going to make of this. 124 meters, the distance and a half, but look at the style marks, taking him down, just waiting for the Canadian judge. Come on, it can't be that difficult to make up your mind. It was clearly not a telemark at the end, so take off a mark or two. But please make up your mind. We don't want the wind to come up even more. 18, 2nd place. The style costing him the lead. Jani Ahonen, we're into the top 3. Ahonen just 3.6 points off the pace behind Andy Goldberger after the first jump. The man who won here last year was runner-up 24 hours ago. He really does look so confident, and that's a good effort again from Ahonen. Not 126, it's not the hill record, that still belongs to Dieter Thoma. 125 meters. So he's going to go into the lead, the junior world champion of the past 2 seasons. Jani Ahonen, Garmisch winner. And 124 meters, in fact, takes the lead. 2 to go, and here's the man who won yesterday, 23-year-old Roberto Ceccon. 1.79 m in height, 71 kilos. Looking for win number 5 of his career. The runner-up on the big hill at Bischofshofen. And that looked good enough, timing off the end of the table, and it's long. That's an outstanding 2nd leap there by Roberto Ceccon. What a weekend this man's happening. Knocking on the door just before Christmas and again over New Year. And 126 meters, I think. He's got a share of the hill record. Thoma denied the exclusive honor and a telemark, and he's got 126. In fact, was Toma 126 and a half he was. So Chacon just short of the hill record, but he's not going to worry about that if he wins here. But is Goldberger going to take the day? To do it, he's probably going to have to set a hill record. Not quite as powerful, but it's long, and he really is cute on getting the telemark there. Now, has he got the favor of the judges so he doesn't lose any style marks? He's got the length, but has he got the style? 127 meters, he's got the hill record. An amazing leap by Andy Goldberger. What a way to come back. Yesterday was a hiccup when he finished fourth. He is the hill record holder, but look at that. The style marks. The style marks are down. He didn't fool the judges, and Chacon gets the double. What I feared, he just bent the knee after the landing, which was an attempt to fool the judges that he'd got the telemark, but they were eagle-eyed, and Goldberger goes into second place. The 5th time he's been runner-up this year. Nothing wrong with the timing or the flight, but he loses the jump. Watch the landing as he comes in now. Watch the 2 feet come down together, then look at the bend of the knee. It comes really late. Thinks about it. There it is. Little indication there. But no, Mr. Goldberger, we spotted that one. And Roberto Chacon makes it an Italian double. Well, what an afternoon. A special weekend for Italian sport. Alberto Tomba, all the honours in Kitzbühel in the slalom, but 2 out of 2. I don't think he can believe it. To win one, that's special. To win 2 in a row, well, that's very rare indeed. But this is the man who's done it, Roberto Chacon. 126 meters. He hasn't got the hill record, but he's not going to be bothered about that. He's got 126 meters and a telemark, and he's got victory number 2 of the weekend, victory number 5 of his career, and he is at the podium. 23-year-old Roberto Chacon raises the arms of his colleagues. Andy Goldberger on the left, but Jani Ahonen, who was second yesterday, has to settle for 3rd today, and once again the Finns are denied. They're right there in 3rd, 4th and 5th, but the honours going to Italy and Austria. Tony Nieminen back to something like his form in 11th place. Ottesen for Norway in 12th place. Molar, he'll be well encouraged to finish in 16th. Jiri Palmer, he's in the points. So Stefan Zund gets 1 point, just ahead of Jakub Sahašek, the 16-year-old Czech. And these, I'm afraid, are the 5 gentlemen who get nothing for their efforts in terms of points today. On Japan's North Island of Hokkaido, a pretty fine day for ski jumping, but although the towns of on the gate here, young Frode Hore from Norway, just 22 years of age, from Pressfoss. And just under 90 meters there. In fact, just under 85, 84 meters, I think, for Hore. And a good style there. Gets the telemark landing, 84 meters, 102 points. And he overtakes a gaggle of Japanese jumpers on home snow, went early. Now here's Saito with bib number 13 today. Hiroya Saito. 15th on this hill last year, but Saito, that's a much better jump. Just a metre or so short of 90. Remember, points deducted for less than 90 metres, added if you go further. And good style there, nice telemark. So he takes over the lead. One or two absentees and important ones, I'll get to those in a minute here, who have not travelled across to Japan. This is Fukita of the Japanese squad. And again gets the telemark there. Fukita, though, not as long as he'd need. At 82, 83. In fact, 85 and a half there for Fukita. My apologies to him. A little shorter than I gave him credit for. Another of the Japanese Scots, Ito. And he nails the telemark, very important. And the judges have done well this year, the 5 members of the jury. They've really not messed about. They've been very consistent, the different juries, but they've spotted those who do and those who don't get the telemark. And I've taken off 1.5 to 2 points. Now Nishikata, 26 years of age. He's the tall man of the team, 1.80 m. Speed on the in-run there, just under 82 kilometers an hour. Nishikata, mid-80s. Third here on the podium 12 months ago in this competition. But losing points for start. You can see a little two-footed on the landing, no telemark, and they've spotted that. Remember, the highest and lowest discarded. The other 3 added together with the distance points of 84 metres, so that's going to drop him down a little bit. So 24, Yasuzaki of Japan. And Yasuzaki, 85 metres with fair style, but no one really threatening to go over the critical point of the hill. Now here's Harada. Maybe he'll wake the whole competition up. Oh, he gets the telemark, but he's still 3-4 metres short of 90. About 85, maybe a little bit longer for Harada. Much better than he did in training earlier today. They had one training jump here, and he only managed to jump 71, and he's got 85.5 metres. Just as we see this replay of Harada, as he goes into second place, worth telling you that none of the German squad are here. They're back in Germany competing in their national championships. And I can tell you that on the big hill, Jens Weissflog beat Dieter Thoma and Hans-Jörg Jekle. Next man to jump here, Urban Frank from Slovenia, 24-year-old. No better than 6th so far in World Cup competition, and getting his first taste of Sapporo in World Cup competition, that is. 87.5, but for the style he'd have led. Now here's the consistent Christian Moser, 11th and 10th in the last 2 World Cup jumps at Engelberg last weekend. Good speed off the in-run, and Moser just about 85 metres there. He was 8th here a couple of years ago on this hill. And again, you can see 2.5 marks lost. The telemarks there, but the marks really lost in the flight. have a look at this now. The skis are pretty even. Well, difficult to tell where they deducted those marks. Those are not far off vying with the best. Now here's Andy Widhersel. Again, another of the consistent young Austrians, only 18. And Widhersel, very close to 90 meters there. Just a fraction, maybe half a meter off the pace. This young man who's currently 18th in the World Cup region, 89.5 meters, and very good style. And he's the leader with, of course, all the big names to come. All the Finns are here, Andy Goldberger's here. But the people who aren't, well, Dieter Thoma, Jens Weisflog, Hans-Jörg Jakli, I've mentioned. Roberto Ciccon, who never planned to make this trip. And also Espen Bredesen absent. He's still having problems with his neck and not wanting to take the long flight. Okabe now for Japan. And really stretches out there. He's not as long as Widhersel, but that was a good leap. It'll put him in contention for the second jump. 88 meters, in fact 89, my apologies, I've cheated him of a meter. And look at that for style. That will give him a lot of confidence for the second jump. But goes second. Remember, he was a little bit shorter on distance than Andy Widhersel. So the first of them, Nicolas Jean-Pro and Nicolas Desum, who's to follow. Jean-Pro, Frenchman who gave up, then came back, and that's a fair opener. The 27-year-old getting very close there to the calculation point, 88 meters, so just a couple of meters short. And good style here from Jean-Pro, was fifth here a couple of years ago, and that's actually his best result in World Cup. 88 meters, fourth place at the moment. Now Mika Laitinen, the runner-up in the Planica small hill competition. Yet really to master the big hills, not a particularly attractive jump in terms of the flight, and he's short below 85. His best of the season, of course, third place in Innsbruck in the Intersport 4 hills. 84.5 meters and a lot of style given away. Down in the top 10 at the moment, but he's going to be outside it before this first jump is over. So now the double Olympic champion, Toni Nieminen of 92. Actually, Nieminen's never won here. 8 victories to his credit, but this was one of the places he didn't conquer in 1992. But Nieminen really being encouraged by the announcer. He was just a little short of 90 in training earlier this morning, but that's not as good. That's mid-80s. Remember, he was the bronze medalist in 92 on the small hill. And Toni Nieminen only 84.5, but the style good enough to keep him in 8th place. He was 5th in the last World Championships on the smaller hill. Now Nicolas Desum, the 17-year-old from Courchevel. He's got many Frenchmen excited. Still France looking for their first ever World Cup win. Desum could be the youngster to give it to them. Good opener. About 88. And Desum, who's been 4 times in the top 10 this season. The best of them are 5th place at Engelberg on the penultimate jump. Now the distance is fair, so it's on the style that he loses the points. And the landing costly. But he's still right in the fight. Desum, the 5th best jumper of the season so far. Now here's the best Norwegian of the season so far, Lasse Ottesen. Otterson, who was 7th on this hill a couple of seasons ago. And that is well short. All of, I should say, 10 meters short of the calculation point. Timing, tips coming up very hard, just really didn't get it worked out at all there, and he's left himself with an awful lot of work to do. Remember, the best 35 make the cut. He's going to make the cut, but not by much. 26th, and there are still 5 to jump. Here's another one of the Finnish squad, Ari-Pekka Nikkola. He was second here. He's not won in Sapporo, but he was the runner-up here back in 1989. Gets such good style, and that's a good jump there by Nikkola. Can't be much short of 90, maybe half a meter short, but not more than that, and good style. 7 times he's finished in the top 10 this season. And 89.5 meters for Nikkola. He hasn't reached the podium. Maybe today will be the day. He's the leader, 116.5 points. Now 25 years of age, so plenty of experience, but making a real comeback this season, Nikkola. Now here's Soininen, Jani Soininen, whose form one could say is a little bit in and out, although the last 2 jumps, 3rd and 4th in Engelberg. Soininen opening up with a reasonable jump, not as long as Nikkola. It's a good couple of meters shorter, round the 87 mark. Twice 3rd, good style. Look at this, the telemark appreciated, except by one of the Japanese judges, and waiting for the Finn, who agrees with the others. 6th place, just short on legs. Now here's Funaki. Of course, he was missing in Engelberg because he was back here in their national festival where he won both of the jumps on the big hill. And good for distance, but bad for landing. Funaki, and that's over the calculation point by just about half a meter, I reckon, but he's 2-footed on landing, 90.5 indeed. But look at this, this is where the style marks are given away. The flight, the timing off the end of the table, very good indeed, but look at those 2 feet glued together, no telemark, lose 2 points per judge. Funaki, this is his hometown, family and friends here. The man who's burst on the scene thanks to, I suppose, Noriaki Kasai's injury, and news of him, he actually fell a week ago, and so the collarbone which he injured and was on the way to recovery, now he's back in the casualty ranks. Ahonen for Finland. Good jump. Now that's also 2 or 3 meters short of the calculation point for this man who's 3rd in the World Cup rankings. Feeling pretty good. And Ahonen with 87 meters and fair style. Remember, 2nd in the last 2 jumps at Engelberg, the runner-up when he could so easily have won, but Ciccone, the Italian, had the beating of everybody there. Here's the leader, Andy Goldberger. Now he didn't bother to train on the big hill, waited for yesterday for the small hill, and they had to cancel training. So he's had no experience, but it doesn't matter. He's got such good confidence. And Andy Goldberger, I think that's smack on the 90-meter mark. In fact, it is right on the 90-meter mark for Andy Goldberger. Style as ever, pretty good. Just the takeoff timing, excellent. The flight, look, the ski's just moving a little bit in the flight, but the landing's okay. So the points for style lost really in the flight more than the landing. But he's very much the man to beat. This 22. The facts and figures there. Then Finland, Nicholas just half a point off the pace. Vidhersel, very good up there in third place. Then Okabe, the best for the home country, ahead of teammates Saito, with Funaki down in 5th point. If he can get the telemark, he really would move up the order. After him in 6th place, it's the best of the Frenchman, Jean Pro, Frenchman Dessum in the top 10. And only really 7 points separating the top 10, so it's really close. The best 35 jump again. Conditions still pretty good here. They've just lowered the gate by 1 rung, which is perhaps a little disappointing because no one's got anywhere near the critical point of the hill, although there is just about a metre of headwind, so maybe safety in their minds. So here's the 16-year-old Jakub Suchacek of the Czech Republic, trained by the great Yuri Raska, really getting his first flavour of World Cup action on this hill. And Suchacek, short of 80 metres, I'm afraid. 79.5, and the style not particularly admired. Suchacek, silver medalist in the Czech team in the Junior World Championships last year, and a very good position in Innsbruck, where he finished 10th and again occupied that position in Villingen, but this is part of his education. Now Bilčík for Slovakia, and that's shorter than Suchacek. Hasn't got into the top 20 this year, Bilčík. Arms out from the side. It's not particularly gainly, although the jury get to know those who have that as a particular style. 76.5, though, will be disappointed. Now Johan Rasmussen should be the next man, and it is 80 metres, you see, the first time, so Rasmussen needs to find quite a big jump here to pull himself up the order from Boras. Never better than 12th in World Cup. That wasn't really the way to leave the table. The telemark was there, but the meters weren't, and that's even shorter than Bilčík. I would say about 74, maybe 74 meters. So that will be desperately disappointing. Third place at the moment, and only 30 of the 35 will score World Cup points. 52, that's Kazuyoshi Funaki, Japan's #1 man of the season. Here's 49. This is Lasse Ottesen. Oof. Well, only a little bit, maybe not. In fact, 74.5 meters, just half a meter more than Rasmussen, his Swedish rival who preceded him. And Lasse Ottesen, the Olympic champion on the small hill, struggling to find his form this season. Currently in the 10th place in the World Cup rankings. But in terms of World Cup competition, a good start in Planica when he was 7th and 3rd, but since then it's not been too encouraging. Now Didier Mollard beginning to perhaps find a bit of form. Well, it's longer than Ottesen and Rasmussen, Bilčík and Suchacek, but it's not anything that's going to set the world alight. Sub 80 meter jump there. And Mollard, he's got better performances on the big hills, particularly the ski flying hills, although he was 6th here last season. But again, very patchy form, not in the top 15 so far this season. Now Werner Heim, Austria, another man who's slightly lost his way. Again, the timing not good. Telemark's there, but that's 77 meters. Look at how quickly those tips came up. Really left it a bit too late. Third place at the moment. He will drop down. Zoran Zupanic for Slovenia, just 19 years of age, from Ziri. Haven't seen too much of him this season on the World Cup. And that was just about the same as Werner Heim, I'd say. And again, 77 meters. And look at the landing. Gets the telemark nicely, but he's well short of the meters that he needs. Sato for Japan. Masayuki, again a 19-year-old. Japan have a good record on this hill over the years. Another Saito won it in 87. Akimoto back in 84 and Yagi in 80. And of course the Japanese coach Yuko Kasaya back here in Sapporo in 1972, the Olympic Games. He was the man who led a clean sweep, a 1, 2, 3, gold, silver and bronze on the small hill. So 80 and a half, it gets a little bit better, but the crowd a little bit quiet now. They want to see the big jumps. Remember, we move to the big hill tomorrow. Now Higashi. Kazuhiro. Just about getting the telemark there. That's a little bit longer, but only a couple of meters longer than Sato. 82 and a half. So slowly but surely we're increasing. A little painful at the moment, but we're going to get to the Finns and Andy Goldberger pretty soon. Now here's another of the Finnish squad. This is the baby of the party in terms of achievement this season, Tero Koppanen. 82. Just about the same as Higashi. Only 17 from Kuvela. But so much strength in depth have the Finns got. Member of their conquering Junior World Championship team last season. And he was 9th individually in those Junior World Championships. Now the experience of Jiri Palmer. The runner-up here as long ago as 1988. And he still retains his appetite and enthusiasm, and Jiri Palmer trying to improve. Maybe he's found a meter more than Koppanen. Jiri, who was world champion back in 1987 on the small hill. And in fact, in 1993 in Falun, he was 8th. That's just an indication of how well he keeps his form. So he leads for the moment, the 32-year-old. Well, Switzerland haven't had much joy this season. Here's 20-year-old Stillman Freiholz. He's done quite well here in the past. 5th 2 or 3 seasons ago. And just about the same in meters as Jiri Palmer. Quite tall, meter 81. Runner-up in Engelberg a couple of seasons ago. And that was the same season he was 2nd in the Junior World Championship. So just finding the transformation into the big boy sport, the World Cup, just a little bit hard to handle at the moment. So this is a sport of technique and also mental preparation. Next to jump, Heinz Kutin.
Come on.
Oof. Well, it wasn't very long and just crumpled down. I think he's all right. It was about 82 meters for this man who's the tallest on the whole circuit. About 1.92 m. He really is a giant in terms of height. And as you can see, as usual, you automatically lose 50% of your points. And just completely lost his balance on landing. So Kutin, who's been struggling a little bit, world champion on the small hill back in 1991 at Predazzo, Val di Fiemme. He'll be last of the pack today, those who qualified. Now here's another of the Swiss, Martin Truns, 24-year-old. Looking to be better than sixth. That's a tall order for him. As far as the season's concerned, he's just inside the top 30 on the rankings, but yet to really break into the top 10. The best he's been, in fact, 15th, very first jump of the year in December at Planica in Slovenia on the small hill when he was actually 15th. Ooh, a little two-footed. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether they'll give him that for style. Short on meters, desperately short. So it's not really going to matter. Less than 75 meters. And no, they don't. They don't like the style, and the distance, not very good either. On the small hill, where the calculation point is 90 meters, for every meter less, 2 points are deducted. Every meter more, 2 points are added. And there's more deductions today than there are additions. Now here's Werner Ratmar. He did the double here in 1991, and he's the hill record holder at 98 meters. How he wishes he had that sort of form. Ratmar, he was second in the World Cup rankings in that season. But the best he's managed this year, 19th on the big hill at Bischofshofen.
Come on.
No. Short. Telemark fine, meters well down. Shakes his hand. There are places to be won in this Austrian team. Goldberger's certain. Widhurzel's certainly up there. Moser probably in with a shout as well, but I think Andy Goldberger will be the only man who feels confident of his place at the moment. 73.5. How distant those days of 1991 are. 12,000 Swiss francs on offer to the winner today. About £6,000. Now here's the tall Japanese, Jinya Nishikata, 84 meters the first time. Hasn't really managed to master this extreme technique that Funaki and Okabe have been pioneering this season. Better. Well, that's getting a little bit more like it. Just a metre or two short of at 90. So 56 points for distance, plus the style marks, which you can see being racked up there. Forget the 17.5, forget the 19, the other three added together, and there's your leader at the moment. Bronze medalist here, I should say, in third position last season. But the first jump let him down, and that's the problem. Now here's the 22-year-old Norwegian, Frud Hore, from Prestfoss. Norway could do with some encouraging form. That wasn't bad in terms of timing, and that's not bad in terms of distance. Really good effort there. 89 meters. So that's the best jump of the second round. In fact, 89.5 meters. And good style. So 217 points the total. And he can take a nice little smile. Now Christian Moser. It's 22. And has a personal best in World Cup action of second. Moses, good effort there. Not as long as Hore of Norway, but it's only about a metre short. I was going to say he's been a runner-up on the normal hill. That was in Lahti last year. And 88.5, and good style there from Moser. Now, is that good enough to give him the lead? No, not quite. 217 for Hore. So Norway lead at the moment from Austria. Now Ito for Japan. Naoto Ito. Good jump, and that's long, and that's over the critical point, over the calculation point, and it's bonus marks for Ito. 2 bonus points, 91 meters, and that will push him right up there. Look at the star marks. Good jump. And Ito gets the telemark and has the lead. So it's Japan from Norway, Austria, but still after the first jump, Mika Laitinen. So really needs to get close to that 90-meter mark now to haul himself into contention. Don't think he's going to do it. Mid-80s. Laitinen. Just a couple of podium places this year. Yet to get a World Cup victory. 85.5 meters. A little bit of paddling in the air with the skis, and 5th at the moment. Now Yasuzaki for Japan. Naoki looking for the big jump there, but not to be. Also, the flight not very stable. 1.5 marks, that's the sort of deduction you can expect. In fact, 2 points taken off. Well, the Polish judge has given him 19. I find that hard to fathom, but it won't matter. That will be thrown away with the low mark. So now the next man should be Toni Nieminen, wearing bib number 47, and there he is. 19 years of age, and Nieminen, I have to remind you, this is the man so many in the Finnish camp think that will win the World Championship title. Nieminen, good telemark, he really gets it lovely and deep, and that's just a metre or so short of 90. So Nieminen in the points again. 8th in this season's World Cup rankings for the man who won the overall and the Four Hills Championship back in 1992. And 88.5 meters for Nieminen. But look at the landing. And he's very consistent with that. Very, very dependable. Now Fukita. Yukitaka Fukita from Sapporo, as are so many of these home-bred jumpers. And Fukita a little two-footed on the landing there. And short of Nieminen by a couple of meters, I'd say. Skis not quite equal. You can see the movement there in the flight. 86.5. And on average about 18 for style out of 20. And these men really want to do so well here. Remember, Japanese can only send or they can only enter 4 So competition for place is very keen. Now Harada. Masahiko Harada. Short. Harada, world champion in Falun on Swedish snow on the small hill, but struggling to recapture that sort of form. Never won a World Cup. He's been fourth a couple of times, and remember, he was the man who couldn't find anywhere to hide in the Olympic Games in the team competition when he just couldn't produce the jump that would have given him and his teammates the gold medal. As it was, they settled for silver. Here's Frank of Slovenia. Just outside the top 30 in the rankings. A little split in the skis there. Short on the distance. Timing not terribly good. And less than 85. Best so far for him this season, 14th and 12th in the opening two jumps on home Slovenian snow on the smaller hill. But overall, this very much a learning season for him in the top flight of ski jumping. 43, Andy Vidhersel there with his back to you, but now France, Nicolas Desum, 10th after the first jump. Looking good, looking very good, and that's a terrific jump from Desum. Way over anything we've seen so far. And big bonus points for the 17-year-old from Courchevel. Really nailed this off the end of the table. Style is good. So nothing worse than 18.5 for Style. He's the leader, 92.5, so 2.5 meters over the calculation point. And France lead the competition. Desum still looking to improve on his personal best, which of course, for those of you who don't remember, is fourth. Now Jani Ahonen. Ahonen, runner-up in the four hills, third in the World Cup rankings. Ahonen, a lovely jump. Just a step back there a little bit, but that's even longer. It's not 98, but it's 96 meters. The hill record, 98 meters. And the 17-year-old Finn has gone into the lead. The runner-up in the last two ski jumps at Engelberg. Look at the style. Not far off perfection there. Well, he gets the telemark. But it's the timing off the end of the table which is so good. Look how steady the body is there in flight. And Jani Ahonen, runner-up in the last two jumps before today on Swiss snow at Engelberg. Can he get a victory today? He's certainly put pressure on Andy Goldberger, who's going to have to jump very well. Just takes it day by day, he says, not thinking about the World Cup title, Ahonen. Just jump to jump. And whatever will be as far as he's concerned, and I think that's a very sensible attitude. So now Jani Soininen, his teammate, who was 8th after the first jump. Soininen, 3rd and 4th in Engelberg. He's by and large pretty consistent. He's been in the top 15 in every single competition this season. That is not good, and he's going to come in short and two-footed as well. Well, this could well be his worst result of the season. 78 meters and almost 25% of his style marks gone, and a bad jump, and he'll not be happy with that. Never got it right on the in-run. And as a result, the flight was awful, the length was poor, and the style, forget about it. Now, Nicolas Jean-Pro. Jean-Pro in good form for France. Good jump, and Desum went over, and so has his teammate. Now that looks very much the same. There's nothing much between the two Frenchmen at the moment. Desum was 92.5, he's 92. The start is good though. 19s, but he's only second. But Ahonen still leads, but Jean Pro has got ahead of Desum, his teammate. But the French, they really are going well. And Frank Salvi, not an unhappy man. Now Funaki for Japan. Not the last chance, but needs to be a long jump here. And Funaki's got a long one, but he's also two-footed again. Tumbles down after the outrun, so I don't think he's going to lose the points for that. He was tumbling off that 94 meters, and Funaki, well, they've given him a little better style than maybe I would have done. You can see there just a little bit of movement. Now let's watch this landing. Second place behind Ahonen, and I think that's two-footed. I don't think that's a telemark, but it's not down to me. It's down to 5 men in the tower at the 94.5 meter mark to make the decision. Now Saito, his older teammate by 5 years. Saito going for the long jump here, and that's about the same. But that definitely is two-footed. Now remember, Ahonen with 96. These men are a couple of meters short, so Ahonen will still have the lead by my book. 17s, yes, they've definitely not given him the telemark this time. Funaki, maybe the benefit of the doubt, but Saito, I'm afraid, no such favour. Third place. But that really means now that it won't be a home victory, because the next three, the last three to come, are Austrian, Finnish and Austrian. Well, I should say Okabe could do it, but it's a terrific effort from Okabe. A terrific effort. That's longer than Saito or Funaki. But it's not longer than Ahonen, 95 meters. So it's all about style. Remember, Okabe jumping longer than Ahonen in the first round. He had 87 meters. I mean, Ahonen had 87 meters, Okabe had 88. But Okabe this time, 95, he's the meter shorter. So Okabe in second place, Funaki's third, Saito's fourth. Here's Andy Vidhursel.
Let's go.